Good morning and welcome to another video by Rishi UK. Right, in today's video, we're going to give Uber a rest actually. We're not going to talk about Uber much, and we're going to concentrate on a forthcoming budget. I think it's on Wednesday, the 3rd of March. Today, the video is being done on the 27th of Saturday. Right, so a few more days to go yet for the budget, and I want to bring something that's grabbed my attention and is on the news. Can you see what it says? Sunak's budget expected to offer first-time buyers mortgage guarantee. Now that is concerning for me specifically, and I'll give you the reason why I think you shouldn't, jump at this. This is not a very good thing currently. So what is this saying? So he's guaranteeing um, a scheme where buyers, first-time buyers, I think it's also with current householders as well, where you only pay 5% deposit to um, get into the house, and that is quite appealing. What's the house current houses around? I don't know. Say for instance, £250,000, 5% deposit, £12,500. Now that is not bad. Getting your foot into a doors of a £250,000 house by paying only £12,500. That is quite a good way to get into the housing ladder, you might say. Now, remember, on this channel we keep talking about relationships. Now, yeah, not that sort of relationship. I'm on about TFL and Uber, how strong it is. But you know something? Someone's beat them to it. And that someone's are the government and the banks. Now, this is what this budget will be all about. Well, part of it is specifically this 5% deposit scheme. It's all about strengthening the relationship between the bank and the government. And guess who's going to get the back end of it? Yes, you, me, and probably hundreds of thousands if we are not careful. So here's what this 5% deposit scheme is designed to do. Now, remember a few years ago, probably more than a few years ago actually, government were doing a car scrappage scheme where a low income motorist, they were basically able to dispose of the old car for a brand new one. Now, what was the end result on that scheme? Some didn't actually mind it at all. It worked out quite well for some. But others at the same time were really affected by it because they couldn't pay off the repayment. A new repayment to them, and they fell into giving the car back to the finance company or however they purchased the actual car. Now, this is what I'm saying. The end result for the government is for you to be departed with your cash. And when we do that, because in some cases we look at this low interest repayment at that time and we say, well, we could afford that. This is quite a good bargain here. And you're not going to win with the slogans, the marketing they use. You take our mate Sadiq Khan, and he's still at it with the scrappage scheme in London, where he's saying to them, now listen to this. He's going around saying, we're going to give you £2,000, I think it is, to get rid of your old car and buy a new one. And you know where you're going to make your saving? By not paying the congestion charge. This is how ridiculous it is. But the whole system is designed to do one thing and one thing alone, and that is to get you into debt. This 5% mortgage scheme we're talking about is a massive debt. This ain't your car we're talking about. We're talking about, up to £600,000. And the government wants us to carry the massive debt. So why are the government doing that? You might be asking yourself, they can't be just doing that for the sake of it, could they? The reason they're doing this is because the whole financial system is rigged by the big government and the banks. And time again, government will bail these banks out, provide them with stimulus packages for the economy, and they want every one of us to get on board before this ship goes down. You look at the stock market right now, currently reaching new highs while we're actually in a pandemic. House prices, for God's sake, are just rising all the time. At the same time, there's hundreds and thousands of people, losing their jobs. The unemployment are reaching record high, but the house prices are just keep rising. And this scheme is just going to do the same as well. Keep the house prices rising. Now you watch on Wednesday the Chancellor selling this mortgage deposit scheme to us, but he's not going to mention nothing about the interest rate. And if you were to say something to him about it, he'll say, well, the Bank of England actually sets it. We don't do nothing, we don't set it. But look how low the interest rate has been now. It's nearing 2 decades. If interest rates starts creeping up, your mortgage repayment will rise at the same time. What about inflation? If your cost of living, the food prices, starts to rise, your cash is worth less and your mortgage repayments becomes harder. And something, we haven't even accounted for the effect of Brexit yet. There's a lot of talks about raising taxes, your utility bills, your community taxes, they're all rising at the same time. And we are welcoming this from the government, saying that they're giving us a helping hand. Saying thank you for giving us another £100,000 debt. This, listen to this carefully, isn't the Chancellor helping you. This is the government hedging its bets against a meltdown in the economy. If we were to have a housing collapse right now, look at where people would be using the government's money to buy the houses, right at the top of the bubble. The bank don't lose anything because the government has guaranteed. But you are the ones that will be facing the homeless queue. So please don't get tempted by this 5% deposit scheme. It's not what you think it is. There's a big play in this. What we need to do, I say this time now, is to hold back, get our finances into shape, and weather out the next couple of years, because no one knows what's going to happen But the banks and the government have started to hedge their bets.